Hi, I'm Carly Hollman-Long with Printwear Magazine, and today we are with Eric Quinn from Hirsch Solutions. We're going to talk about some high-volume embroidery. So, Eric, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
What size job is considered to be high volume?
Well, it's really relative on the equipment you have. Like we have people who have a single head machine, and 100 pieces on a single head would be considered high volume. But then you have somebody who's got multiple machines, or maybe an 8-head machine, 100 pieces would not be high volume to someone like that. So it's really relative on the equipment you have, but usually around that 144 pieces and bigger, 200, 250 pieces, that's when you start looking at high volume numbers.
And then are there a specific number of heads or needles that make sense for a, say, 144 plus job?
Yeah, I mean, when you're doing larger runs like that, the single head is really geared more for smaller runs. Personalization, individual runs, smaller type of garments and stuff. When you get to the bigger machines, that's when you're going to start doing the high volume orders. So 144 pieces would be way too much for a single head. That's not what it's really designed for. So someone who only has a single head would be better farming that out to someone who's a contract shop that maybe has 50, 60, 100 heads in their shop, because they can knock out that 144 pieces, 200 pieces, 250 a lot quicker. And someone who's got all those embroidery heads, they don't really want to do the smaller runs. So what they'll do is a lot of times they'll farm out the individual name drop, smaller runs, a dozen or less, to the people with the single head machine. So a lot of times embroidery shops will work together. So big runs go to big contract shops, the smaller runs go to the smaller shops.
Is there a typical high volume customer?
Yeah, usually the contract shops. So the actual customers, a lot of contract shops do a lot of work for promotional product people. Promotional product people go out, they don't actually physically do the embroidery, but they go out and sell the embroidery. And they tend to bring in larger volume orders, as opposed to somebody who just, hey, I have a construction business, I need some shirts done, or a landscaping business. They're going to be your smaller runs. But promotional product people, they go out, they sell promotional products, and they'll get a lot of bigger, larger runs that they'll bring to the contract shops.
Do you have any tips on how to manage the overall process of doing high volume orders?
Yeah, what's gotten really big over the years is automation. Basically what you're trying to do is trying to get the workflow done quicker. A lot of people, what they'll do is, in the embroidery machines, they have more memory in them now. So if you have, for example, a customer that's going to come in every month, they're going to order the same shirts or the same hats and the same design, they'll just keep it in memory. So when that customer comes out, you're not loading up the design, you're just pulling it out of memory, put it on the machine, and you're set to go. Things like that. Also, networking. Back in the day, people used floppy disks and even tape readers before that. Well, nowadays, what people are doing is they're networking the machine directly to your computer. So what you do is you just output the design straight to the machine, and you can even, on some machines and some software, you can actually program the colors or the needle sequence, so that when that machine gets here, it's basically ready to go when that design hits that control panel.
Are there any specific designs that you would stick away from if you're going to be doing high volume?
Yeah, most of the high volume you see out there is your typical upper chest logo or caps. Usually somewhere between that 4,000 to 7,000 stitch area, 2 to 3 colors. When you start doing high volume, you want to obviously have a lower stitch count, so it's on and off the machine a lot quicker. Less colors, so that it's producing a lot faster. Because in contract world, you want to get it on the machine, you want to sew it out and get it done and give it back to that customer so they can sell it to their customer. So you want to do lower stitch counts, lower colors, and once again, you get to that automation networking part of things, and that speeds everything up. So you throw those 3 things together, you can get a lot of production done off those machines.
Is there any other advice you would like to share with decorators?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. A long time ago, a customer, I went to go see a customer, and I basically said, how many embroidery heads are in your business here? And he said, I don't know. And I was like, how could you as a business owner not know how many embroidery heads are there?
Yeah.
And he had about 200 embroidery heads in his shop, somewhere in there. So I said, well, how do you not know? He goes, because it doesn't matter. And I was like, of course it matters, getting production. He goes, what matters is how quick I can get the job done. When someone comes into my place and they say, I've got 1,000 hats that I need done, they don't care how many heads are running in the back. All they care about is, when am I going to get this done? So you really focus on that turnaround as opposed to how much equipment you have. But of course, if that turnaround starts being 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks out, then it justifies bringing in another piece of equipment to cut that turnaround time. So the advice I would give is, get that turnaround nailed down, get that quality nailed down, and then the business will flow a lot better. And if one of those starts suffering, you got to do something to change that, whether it's add equipment, find a new digitizer, start creating the designs, more efficiently and better, whatever that case may be. But you want to keep that quality, and you want to make sure that turnaround doesn't go too far out. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your expertise.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.